I Live to Sing was made possible by the generous support of the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation, Jody and John Arnhold, the South African Tourism Board, the Friends of 13, Dorothy Pasella Fund. This program is a co-production with United Nations Television. Additional support provided by South African Airways, proud to share the arts and culture of South Africa with the world.
There is not a single aspect of life in South Africa that has been left untouched by the legacy of Nelson Mandela. Politics and the economy, of course, but also sports, culture, even opera. During the era of apartheid, South African opera had a reputation as an art form of the elite, evoking images of European-style aristocracy. The South African College of Music at the University of Cape Town, home to the finest opera school in the country, was whites only for most of its century-long history. The apartheid government prohibited the school from admitting black students unless the university obtained a special permit. But with the end of apartheid and Nelson Mandela's election as president, the opera school was one of many institutions to fully open its doors to black South Africans. And when those doors opened, the faculty was amazed by the breadth of talented classical singers competing for admission. Many young black singers had been trained in opera in their community choirs, competitive choral groups that are hugely popular in South Africa's black townships. Others first heard opera in television ads. Today, the opera school is about 2/3 black or mixed race. Many of the black students receive full scholarships that include fees for room and board. In just a few short years, the school has had enormous success, training a new generation of international opera stars, including soprano Pretty Yende, who made her debut at the Metropolitan Opera earlier this year. Tonight, we'll follow 3 opera students as they prepare a production of the French opera The Tales of Hoffmann at Cape Town's main opera house, once also a whites-only institution. We'll travel with them to Cooperstown, New York, where they spent last summer as apprentices at the acclaimed Glimmerglass Festival. As you'll see, that's where I had the chance to work with these gifted singers on a production close to all of our hearts. A dramatic musical based on the famed South African novel, Cry the Beloved Country. During the film, we'll also spend some time with the family of one of the students in his home township, and then journey with them to Cape Town, where they will see him perform in an opera for the very first time. And we'll let these young performers show us in words and in song the power of opera to penetrate their souls and change their lives.
The first time I heard opera, it was on the television advert. They were advertising this Shell petrol, and then there was this horse that was riding next to the beach, and then they played this beautiful music. And the voice was a soprano, and it felt like something silky. I pictured this beautiful, beautiful lady with long hair, big eyes.
Black or white?
White, of course. I never pictured a black person doing opera. In Xhosa, we do have songs that tell a story, a song about the great leader or a person who has done good in the community. With opera, I'm not sure if it's something that happened, it's based on the true story, or the composer just took a pen and wrote something.
We want the title for this film to be in Xhosa as well as English, and we're trying to figure out translation for the phrase, I live to sing. Internet translator came with this.
Ndiphilela Ukucula. Okay, Ndilala, it's like, I sleep. I don't know how you came up with that one. I live to sing will be Ndiphilela Ukucula.
Say it one more time.
Ndiphilela Ukucula. I live to sing. That would make a nice title. I like it. Yeah.
Un'auretta assai gentile che insensibile e sottile leggermente dolcemente incomincia sussurrar.
He is Ndiphilela.
Terra, terra.
Now, when the Basutus praised their king, they used to say, Ndiphilela wa Basotho, meaning the stronghold of the Basotho nation. So he is Ndiphilela.
And when Ndiphilela and his brothers and sisters were born and were little children, what were your hopes and dreams for them?
Okay. My first hope, I was hoping to have 4 boys and 2 girls, but they came to work out vice versa. I was really hoping that they must be highly educated. During the time of apartheid, it was difficult because they couldn't attend any white university. That is why I always tell all my children that since we are on new environment, please devote yourself to studies and for better life. For him, he was interested in music. But I must confess that I was not too happy because for me, music, I thought it was just a hobby. I don't think he can really make life out of it. I wanted something, a professional, that he will ask for a job and be employed and say, my son is employed.
And sit in the office.
And sit in the office, yes, with a tie like myself.
And Ndiphilela, did your father make those concerns clear to you?
Yep, he actually made them quite clear. But then again, I mean, the dream was mine. I came to the University of Cape Town in 2006. It felt exciting. With us, our culture is like a big thing if you go to university.
Oh, 1 and 2. La grâce, la beauté, le talent, don sacré.
La grâce, la beauté, le talent, ton sacré, tout c'est bien que le ciel.
The right to music, I feel, is a fundamental human right. We all have a right to have a chance to make music.
And go.
The apartheid-era government funded opera quite lavishly to prove how European South Africa was. So here I am trying to do opera to prove how South African opera is.
The basic aesthetic for choral singing, the kind of singing that especially the people who speak Xhosa, who speak Sotho. The kinds of singing that happens in their choirs is a very direct step into the operatic literature. The community choirs grew out of missionaries and English hymnody. They had competitions even back during the era of apartheid.
In those days, any black student that wanted to register at UCT had to obtain a permit. And they could apply to study at UCT, but then UCT had to go through all the hoops of applying for particular permits. UCT changed very radically in the period of the political change in South Africa. I remember clearly one day a young man arrived and he wanted to audition for the opera school, and he was a young black gentleman. He opened his mouth and sang "Die Provenza." And quite frankly, I hadn't heard any students audition with that kind of talent and that kind of mature voice. In a very short time, 6 such singers came on my doorstep.
Back in the 70s, 80s, before that, what were the main areas of South Africa that the opera students at UCT would have come from?
Rondebosch, Bishop's Court, Camps Bay, Belleville, Durbanville, Stellenbosch.
And what about today?
Well, they come from all over the show, but most of the students come from Khayelitsha and Langa.
This is my home, Khayelitsha. It's where I grew up. I lived here for like my whole entire life. My family, we grew up very close because my mother was so strict. It was even hard to go outside without her permission. Basically, life was normal. We grew up as normal kids, used to play outside with balls. I was very familiar with the game of cards, but my mom didn't like those because she thought of it as the gambling games. Oh, and then I started singing. I was given a solo song in primary, and I was so scared because I have never stood there all alone and sing in front of the audience. But my mother was there to support me. Hashabai, my tiny baby, Hashabai, my little king, Hashabai, my newborn treasure, while we shepherds sweetly sing. We used to have this community choir that I started singing to. I started to enter competitions. People were talking about this College of Music in South Africa, in Cape Town. UCT for me was this big school where they do these bombastic courses, engineering, sciences, laws. When I heard that the UCT College of Music took me, I was screaming my lungs out.
Had other members of your family gone to university?
No. Actually, yes. One of the firstborn, Bukelwa, went to Tiger Bay College, but then she dropped out because of the finances. My parents couldn't pay for the fees because they were so expensive. For me, it was different. I get these bursaries. I say, I'm going to do opera. And the first thing that my mom said was, what's that? She didn't understand the term opera, so I had to explain. And then she was so supportive. So I went, and then first year, that's when my mother passed away.
Was that something that came suddenly, or?
Yeah, well, she was sick, but then the funny part is that I wasn't here when she was sick. Mother Mary watches over you. I couldn't understand why it had to happen when it's my first year at university and my first year away from home. So at some point, I wanted to just quit and go home. But because of the support I got from my family, I made it through.
learn the music first and then the words. On top, I will have to write the English translation and my own language, my Sotho. Even though we speak English very well, we don't necessarily express ourselves physically as well in English. It says, "Tu ne chanteras plus." You won't sing anymore. And then in Sotho, I would just write on top, "Ha sa tla bina ho ha, ha sa tla bina ho ha."
Como chef-d'œuvre de Mozart. I do the pronunciation, then I translate. So for instance, this word, mon premier, it's easy to make it premier, but as soon as you do that, it's wrong. It's viewed as a detestable thing to be that wrong in opera. Que mon première toast soit pour elle. Première toast. Que mon première toast. But I'm always thinking about how I'm going to portray the role. Nathaniel is just a student, and in the prologue, he is one of the people in the bar.
So is he kind of like a party guy, or?
Well, he's a student, so I'm assuming he is a party guy.
And do you feel equipped to take on that role as the student party guy?
I think I'm quite equipped.
How good are you with self-discipline and doing the work you need to do when you need to do it?
I think university is a place that can be very distracting, you know, because of the fast-paced party lifestyle.
What's it like playing a bad guy?
I enjoy every challenge of a different character. I love to act. I love watching movies. I can say I steal from Robert De Niro.
Okay, say for me in English. Your mother.
Your mother.
Do you dare to invoke her?
Do you dare to invoke her?
Your
mother?
Now, stretch out mother longer.
Your mother?
Stretch out the
Your mother?
I'm thinking your mother.
Your mother.
You're praising her singing to build her up.
There is joy. Joy is in being on stage and singing, Antonia.
What made you choose Linda for the role of Antonia?
The quality of the top part of her voice and the excitement of it is what that part's all about. That's a very big role, and she sings the first aria from it exquisitely, and I've never worked on any of the rest of the part with her. Linda had to miss a session today that I was sorry for her to miss because pretty violent sore throat symptoms she was describing, and she went to see the doctor, and he diagnosed it as a form of pneumonia. 2 years ago, Linda was very sick. She had tuberculosis, and she didn't miss lectures for too long of a period. She did the treatment and recovered quite well, but I always keep an eye out for her health. I'm quite sure that she grew up without access to the same level of health care that most of my students, if I were teaching in a Northern Hemisphere conservatory, would have had. When I was interviewed for this job, someone asked me a question about the importance of opera in a third world community, and I said, you know, opera has this reputation, especially in South Africa. It seems so wasteful. but it answers a need that my students feel that no other art form is ever going to answer.
The first time I heard opera was Pavarotti, and he mesmerized me. When I'm singing, I feel like a different person. I actually feel like I can't live without it.
Opera does mean other things in other parts of the world. Here it has a potential to change lives, and I think lasting change tends to come one life at a time.
I grew up in difficulty, I grew up in poverty. There was a time where my mom and dad both didn't work, but they tried to make sure that there's something on the table for us to eat. My dad was the cleaner and the messenger at Standard Bank before he was retrenched.
Oh, I'm Kemani.
Kemani.
I'm the foundation of this house.
Mommy. My mom worked as a receptionist. My parents grew up in a difficult South Africa because they grew up in the Apartheid kind of South Africa.
Apartheid. And I'm afraid that has been misunderstood so often. It could just as easily, and perhaps much better, be described as a policy of good neighborliness.
During the time of apartheid, the South African army was tough, and against anybody they used to throw canisters, tear gas here. Children were crying and everything. Let me explain the pass laws. When you enter Kimberley, there was an office where you must first report yourself, and they would give you 72 hours. After 72, they don't care what is your business is, so you must be out. And there were police municipal police that were going house to house, asking pass. And if you don't have it, it was imprisonment. In 1963, Nelson Mandela was arrested and was sent to Robben Island. If you just speak against the government, you were sent to 3 years and you were blamed as a communist. I remember when I was working at Standard Bank, it was a white management. They used to say to me, Simeon is a communist. I was challenging them, and they knew it. For us, with children, things were very difficult because when the children were playing there, they were shamboked. That is, they were beaten up. They had a law called "You are making noise." For that, children were being beaten up. It was really difficult to have children under those circumstances. The white government was under pressure because everybody was going on strike. I was one of the first to stay away in the bank, not going to work, not doing any job. Yes, that was, we call it a stay away. People were joining, so we were becoming much stronger.
After 27 years in South African jails, Nelson Mandela is a free man.
I didn't believe that the time will come.
Mr. Nelson Mandela, a free man, taking his first steps into a new South Africa.
But that day came.
What did it feel like to go and place your vote in a national election after so many years?
We realized that after a long time, God has heard our prayers.
The time for the healing of the wounds has come. We enter into a covenant that we shall build a society in which all South Africans, both black and white, will be able to walk tall without any fear in their hearts.
He hit the nail on the head.
Ndiphilela, how much does your father talk to you about this kind of thing?
You know, there was a glimpse of it where we would sometimes talk about them, as far as I can remember, but it wasn't a thing that we do very often, because I mean, I don't also like to be involved into politics.
Yesterday I was telling him that 7 o'clock is time for news. We must sit all around and watch the news. And they all scattered and left me alone. So I realized that he's really not a politician or a political spirit.
Un tremoto temporale, un tumulto generale che fa l'aria rimbambare.
I didn't know what is he going to do with music. I wanted him to join police force or to be a teacher. He wanted to go to Cape Town, where I was not even interested. I didn't want him to go there.
Why not?
I felt going to Cape Town for me is a place which I don't know. I don't even know the direction where to go to if I'm going to Cape Town. I was struggling. In my struggling, I didn't have money by then. I didn't know what to do, but I planned to give him a little bit of money to just for transport. A woman is trying always to see the child going forward. Praying is something that is very, very, very helpful, because I was also praying God to help me to assist my children. Everything is possible when you trust in God. He went to overseas, whereby I was also very much unhappy because I was afraid of flying over.
You were afraid for him to be on a plane?
I was afraid. He was going now overseas again to Italy. Is he going to reach that place? Because the people are used to say the Italy is so far. It is too far. I was very happy when they come safe from Italy, and then he informed me that he's going to America.
As soon as we got the news, we were on our way to USA. I was so excited.
Just being able to go to the US and being able to say I'm working with a professional company abroad was already a great step for me. But when we got there, we got more than we ever expected.
We'll live in a better place than Shantytown.
When?
When I come back.
Are you going away?
Yes! But not from you.
We desperately wanted to bring at least a group of young artists from South Africa. It's about them. It's set in Johannesburg and Cape Town and Natal.
It's all focused right on this family. So this is very gut-wrenching for you, very passionate.
Shantytown, crawling with borders and bugs and children.
Next time you say Shantytown, you should make it sound as if you say town. It needs to be just awful.
Shantytown, crawling with borders and bugs and children.
It kind of connects with me, I don't know, should I say, as a black person, because I come from a place where stuff like that do happen.
You don't have to break into the house, I tell you. He never locks his doors day or night.
Then why do we need a gun when we go there?
Nobody knows when he's going to need a gun, and you've got a gun. So don't come without it. We might need it. What do you say?
I think it's better without a gun.
But I don't!
What was it like getting cast as Absalom?
My dream come true.
He will care for your child as if it were our own.
I thank you, my father.
I got to work with some of the greatest musicians in the world. Eric Owens, we got to exploit his talents quite a lot.
Even though there is good and evil in this world, I knew which was good, and God knew it.
I feel as though there's still a lot to be said about what happened in apartheid. It's a story that really needs to be shared.
What year were you born?
I was born in 1991.
So very, very near the end.
Very near the end of apartheid. Although you still have a lot of underlying things in the story that kind of make you think of certain situations that are underlying in South Africa still.
Justice is when the black man digs and the white man carries the briefcase.
Yes.
Justice is when the black woman cooks and the white woman has breakfast in bed.
If you look at the fact that apartheid basically happened in America with the blacks and the whites, apartheid basically happened in Germany with the Jews and the Germans, and anybody can understand what you're talking about, you know?
Lost in the Stars, it's most of the time sad. But there were times where it was happy.
Gold, gold, you get a little gold and the girls warm up, that used to be cold.
Full of dancing and happy moves and just joy.
You climb up the mountain and take a look around and you find that stuff just lying on the ground. Gold, you get a little gold, 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 you get a little gold.
It's very interesting because Americans, they're so energetic. They just want to grab whatever that comes in their way.
My juicy rutabagas, my yellow corn.
Could you imagine ever performing the rutabaga number that Crystal sings? Could you see yourself doing?
No.
Don't buy my black-eyed pea.
Sort of come to her, draw on yourself to her on your knees, like.
Crystal. What made me like Crystal a lot is the fact that she's a very strong, focused woman.
Buy my oranges and melons.
And what about dancing with her?
Dancing with her? I enjoy dancing with Crystal.
Got a license, so I treat you well and try my.
I enjoy that a lot because, you know.
Bananas, buy my, oh my.
I'm not sure if I could do the aria.
Oh my,
I'm not that kind of person. I'm kind of in an eggshell.
I'll take him all. You rough them up.
Sold.
When I walk alone, people stop and stare at my beauty from head to toe. When we work with coaches, they don't focus more on voice. They focus more actually on the whole performance, like how to portray the song, how to stand, how to communicate with the audience.
What do you want at the beginning of this aria? What do you want to do?
At the beginning of the aria, I'm trying to make Marcello jealous notice me. Debbie said, "Do you know the story of the aria?"
And then a river of desire flows through me.
Or do you know the character? She's totally different from Linda.
The wonder that she feels, the desire that she feels, how sexy she feels.
She's out there. She owns the world. She's not shy like Linda. I was just singing with the pretty voice, but then I didn't put my body on it.
Okay, stop.
She could see when I'm faking it, and then she would like, okay, no.
How'd that feel?
I'm still getting used to that.
Good, I want to start again.
She wanted to work more on the physical and flirty. From now on, I'm planning to get more arias that can help me step out of this eggshell I'm in.
I feel strongly that that's what an opera singer needs to be. You cannot convince anyone else that they should pay you to stand up on that stage and make those sounds until you're convinced that you're worth it. Until you're convinced that everyone should be looking at you, not at someone else, at you.
Today's celebration of President Mandela's 94th birthday takes place in New York, where Mandela was granted the honor of the freedom of the city.
I felt it was an auspicious occasion. Did you see my posture when I walked there? It's a very decent, elegant posture. La calunnia e venticello, un'auretta assai gentile. I never thought that I could ever be here before. I never thought I would stand there and sing. It was just an unbelievable moment for me. Unbelievable.
First day we opened, my heart was racing. I felt the pressure of the audience.
I love you, Irina. I want you to have something better than that.
I've had some shows where I've completely come to tears as well because you have to actually really put yourself into the roles.
Absalom Kumaro, I sentence you to be hanged by the neck until you are dead.
I am afraid of the rope and the hanging.
To me, he has become Absalom Kumalo. I would be hard-pressed to think of anyone who would not be moved or engaged by his performance.
The South Africans brought a wonderful, wonderful feeling and infused the work with such dramatic power.
Golden, golden, you get a little golden, 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 you get a little golden.
I imagine you saw the mention of yourself in the New York Times.
Yes, I did. I did, yes, and I was very happy about that. It's a very big achievement.
Did you tell your family about that?
Yeah, everybody knows.
I'm hoping when we get home, we'll have a chance to continue what we've learned here. Step out of your comfort zone and just do what you love. We didn't know that most people here in America appreciate African music, and to them it's something totally different from theirs.
I enjoyed my dance and my song, Khomo Khunwana. I did all of that crazy dance. We were singing the Tswana song. And I'm actually Sotho and not Tswana. I went on YouTube to go search on how to do the Tswana traditional folk dance. I did my best with it, and the people liked it. They really liked the dancing. People were like, you can dance. And I'm like, no, I cannot dance. I copied that. But I didn't say that.
My name is Makudupanyane Sinawana. And the next song the next theme we're going to present to you is entitled Mbube. It is a drinking song, and it is a song the men used to sing when they used to get together to drink their traditional beer called Umqomboti. Can anybody in here say Umqomboti? Okay.
We also noticed a familiar part in it. Himaway, himaway.
It does relate a lot to what's the song? In the Jungle. In the jungle, the mighty jungle.
In the jungle, where the lion sleeps tonight.
Do you know what the director means when he says, look for your lights? Just look at your nose. Go to the other side of the book. That's where I'd like you to be. I was asked by Kamal Khan to direct this production of Hoffman, and knowing the kinds of voices that come from the UCT Opera School and the Opera Studio, I had no doubt that I would enjoy doing a production for them. Can we go from... My family tells me that I was singing opera when I was about 3 years old, and we lived in Milano in those days. I was Italian. I came to South Africa. I was about 6.5. It's a pleasant enough country, lots of sunshine. The people are great, but I really found the politics abominable. I sang for something like 15 years. The Opera House. Then it was a huge building which was created by government funding, and it was very expensive. It was very huge, and one hoped that this would become a cultural center for Cape Town.
This theater was opened in 1971 as a whites-only space. This gorgeous Lincoln Center-esque building that the majority of the population of South Africa could not go into.
I suppose there must have been a certain proportion of government supporters who felt that this was the right decision. But the decision that was predominant in the press was one that tried to open the theater both to mixed audiences and to mixed performers.
How big a deal was the controversy?
It was a very big deal. Immediately the government had made the statement, somebody said, oops, no, we didn't really mean it. We're going to open it to all races. And then, of course, by the time it opened, it was officially open to all races, and nobody wanted to go.
Were there a few years where it was all white, though?
No.
I was pretty sure that there were actually a few years of it being an all-white.
Well, perhaps you'll have to just cut it. Perhaps it's just wishful thinking on my part.
What was the thought for artists such as yourself about the options of working within the system versus just leaving the country?
Well, what can one say? It was a decision one had to confront with one's own personal beliefs and one's own soul. I felt that if everybody was simply going to refuse to participate in this and go away, would this be, in fact, the most effective way of creating opportunities for South Africans of different races to find their way onto that stage?
Do you know anything about the history of this opera house?
This opera house?
Yeah. Are you aware at all of the history of this opera house?
No. But I think I'll have to learn more about it. I'll have to do my homework so that when someone asks me that question again, I can answer with confidence.
If one looks on the stage at a show that I'm doing, between 50% and 2/3 of the leading role, you'll notice are filled by young black South Africans. Then you'll see smaller percentages are young white South African singers. Fasti Knudsen is a really extraordinary young lyric mezzo. Fasti is in the chorus for Tales of Hoffmann. Maudie Montier is a young coloratura soprano of ours. She graduated in 2012, now up studying at Guildhall School of Music, which I would say is London's more or less equivalent to Juilliard. Maudie came back to us in Cape Town to do Tales of Hoffmann. Maudie's as phenomenal a talent as anyone, any hue of the rainbow that I've got.
The first time I heard opera, I was 5, and my gran was playing an LP of the Queen of the Night. She was playing, and I fell in love straight away.
I actually loved choir singing, and I played saxophone. I only fell in love with opera 3 years ago.
Did you anticipate that going into opera, so many of your colleagues and classmates would be black?
I didn't actually think...
Something you actually think about.
I mean,
it's
maybe
there
the
in
other way
older
around.
in older people,
Yeah.
older than 50 or so.
Yeah.
We'd still think about it, but...
It's like we're the new generation.
You understand a lot of people outside of this country would be surprised by that.
I don't know what the issue really would be. What would the issue be?
I think it's maybe, you know, marketing. They market it as like still that. We're moving on from that, and it's like there's no boundaries. I mean, why should you discriminate against someone who's got a different skin color than you? It's stupid.
Now has an amazing voice.
Yeah.
Antonia for me is it's my first big role. The character, she is 20 and her mother just died. She was a famous singer. I think she followed her mom's foot because she knew her mom was a famous singer, so she also wanted to be this famous young singer. But then her father is refusing for her to sing because the moment she sings, she will die. Apparently the mother had the same disease. She sang too much and then she died, and then she passed the disease to the daughter. But then Antonia is enjoying the feeling of singing. The moment that she got the chance to sing, she sang her lungs out.
Can you relate to the character and her story?
I think so, in a way, because I also love singing, and also the fact that she doesn't have a mother. I can relate well on that one, because the first aria, the first appearance on her, she's singing Ela Fui. And missing the mother and feeling sad and lonely and depressed, and sometimes that's how I normally feel.
Tell me a little bit about Kamal.
Kamal Khan, I always love to coach with him because he knows so much.
Don't change the alignment of your head. You were in the spot. The head in the same alignment.
He understands the situation back at home. He prefers to just know you, know Linda inside and out.
She's had really an abnormal amount of tragedy in the past 3 or 4 years. Both her mother and her father had passed. And then when she was ill, that certainly didn't help build her confidence.
I was diagnosed with TB, and then I told him. He was so supportive. Every day he was checking up on me. How are you? How is it? How are you taking meds? Are you eating enough? Are you, do you need anything? Do you need money for food? Do you need money for meds? That's the kind of guy he is. He doesn't only care about your voice or how you sing or want to make you a big star. He also cares about Linda.
Part of what shows you that someone's going to be an important singer is when they're in the deep end, and after they've allowed a lot of water to get into their mouths, they start to swim. I know she'll make it. She's definitely developing into the Antonia I knew she would be. You're fine. What'd you do? Je sais, quelle flamme pluie, et Dieu, le seul moment encore à vivre.
Je sais de transporter manœuvre, quelle flamme pluie, et Dieu, je sais de transporter manœuvre. Un seul moment encore à vivre, et que mon ami.
She, in an intangible way, is learning how to see herself as the center of attention. I never hesitate to remind her that she's worth being the center of attention.
You told us earlier that opera music fulfills a need for some of your students that no other art form ever would. Is that true for yourself as well?
Absolutely. I was interested in conducting even from my childhood. My grandmother said I was with the knitting needle that I would conduct to the mirror. I was born in Washington, D.C. My father was from India, and he came to America to study on a grant, and he went to Columbia University. I studied piano and I studied violin and I practiced some of what I was supposed to practice, but it was always to sit down and play opera scores. From the very beginning, it was just music that I felt like I knew I had a right to be with. This music speaks my language. It speaks my language, and my students, many of them can tell that it speaks their language in the same way. We've got a lot of recent UCT grads that are doing some very exciting first steps in the career. Sonny Boy Dladla, who is an apprentice at the Zurich Opera Studio in Switzerland, who made Samachikisa at Stuttgart. Musa Ngumkwana, who's at the Academy of Vocal Arts in Philadelphia. Pretty Yende is a recent UCT grad who has moved directly from being a student at UCT into entering the apprentice program at Teatro alla Scala in Milano, and she has moved directly from that to singing principal roles on the main stage at Milano. And this is not the way anything usually works.
I wouldn't have been here if it hadn't been for UCT. Learning the French, making sure that I know who am I as the countess, how I move on stage. These are the things that were basic tools. I say I have a golden sack, you know, and this is what Angelo de Cobato gave me, has prepared me to be where I am today. So I'm really, really grateful.
If your sister sings the Devieni for us after dinner, or...
And how big an emotional impact does she have on your current students?
She has a huge emotional impact on them.
I still do follow Pretty Yende. I still do want to see myself singing with Pretty Yende on stage together.
I hope he has not yet decided to leave South Africa. I even went as far as to protest to his former teacher. He said to me, no. He has the right to choose what he feels like. You cannot say, follow this, don't follow this. So I was fighting a battle that I don't win. I have given up and give him a green light that he must devote himself to opera music. But not forgetting that he is very soon to marry. And I have to pay lobola. I have to have money to pay that lobola. How he will tackle it, I don't know, but I'll be watching.
Do you have thoughts on who he should be having in mind?
Not at all, because he's a distance from me in Cape Town, but Cape Town is a Xhosa area, and colors. And whites. I don't know which one he will choose. But if it is white, I'll welcome it, and there's no lobola to pay.
You said you're pretty much okay with whatever race he chooses. Is that would that be the common attitude of your neighbors? Or
That's no. I won't even worry about the neighbors. I worry about ourselves as Kamani family.
Temple of Israel, I sing for them for the high holy days as the cantor. I've been singing this for 3 years now. They actually taught me how to sing in Hebrew.
We were looking for a soloist to do the piece, and he was recommended. Ndiphile's rendition of Kol Nidre has been the best that I've heard, in my humble opinion.
It has been quite a good experience for me. I like the shofar, the blowing of the horn, and then the first day of the high holidays you have apple with honey. Yes, I like that. It's different from what I know from my own Roman Catholic church, but there are similarities here and there. I go to church and I say, praise God, and then they come to church as well. They say, praise God, we praise the same person, it's just a different church.
A 10th victim was found hacked to death on Tuesday. On Sunday, security officers were burned alive trying to protect mine property.
Where is the president of this country? The country is burning.
Surely our president cares more about the young unemployed people of South Africa than he does about the vested interests and about his re-election prospects.
I'm not into politics. These people, they promise you the same thing over and over again, but you get the same results. Look what's happening now. There are elections next year. And it's only now that you see the roads being paved. It's only now that you see toilets for the people who live in the townships.
I'm very interested in politics. African leaders' interaction with European leaders and things like that, and the resulting effect in the underdevelopment of Africa.
Are you interested in politics at all?
No, not at all. Am I bad?
You're not bad. Do you vote?
Yes. Yes, I do vote.
Do I?
Vote.
I never even vote. I never vote. I feel like it's just a waste of time.
Is that a source of tension with your dad?
No, he doesn't know that I don't vote.
In 1963, Mandela was arrested and was sent to Robben Island. Now, Robben Island was first prison for hard criminals, but it was converted to political detainees.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome all of you to Robben Island.
It was just a revelation to see where Nelson Mandela and other prisoners stayed for such long periods of their lives.
I was a prisoner here in Robben Island prison from 1977 to 1982. Each prisoner was given 2 mats like this and 5 blankets. We were woken up at 5 in the morning. The doors were open at 7. After we've had breakfast, we'll be taken out to go to work.
Mr. Nelson Mandela suffers from respiration problems. So the quarry would be the main reason for that, because for 11.5 years they were not given any form of protective gears. So on windy days, so obviously the wind would pick up the lampset and they would breathe the lampset in and that damaged their lungs.
Mr. Mandela's cell will be the 4th window.
For me, it was just interesting to see how small the cell was. Like, I lived in a cell that was literally smaller than most people's bathrooms. To have somebody who comes out of a place like that and has such peace in his heart still. Wow, it's amazing.
Yeah, I learned something. I learned more than what I used to know before. Yes, I am the child of that era, but it's just that I appreciate what Nelson Mandela and the others went through. The world would probably be a different place if it wasn't because of their hard work. Much appreciated.
À parler du positif, je suis vieux, mais je suis vif. Je suis vieux, mais je suis vif. Je suis vieux, mais je suis vif.
Have your parents ever seen you perform in an opera?
They have never seen me perform in an opera.
I would like to see him. I would like to see him at the theater.
Surely, I would like to sit in front of him and listen properly.
It was the first time that I'm on the plane, except the smaller one that they were 8-seater. Every time when you come over the mountains, it used to shake it side to side and you feared. But with this one today, No, it was just quiet and I enjoyed it. Up going and down. Sharp. Yeah.
I never dream of going to Cape Town, but you know, children are taking us to the places of which we never expect we will be. This is now to see the man's room.
Oh, yes. This is my flat.
I didn't expect this because at least you can see he's trying to keep the place clean.
Yeah. And this floor is supposed to be shining more than it is. Where's the university from?
There you can see the University of Cape Town right there, straight. Those red roofs.
All right. Okay.
This is my school. This is the South African College of Music, UCT.
This one?
Yeah.
Is that
This
so?
is where I do all the opera studies. All of my exercises, I do them here.
Do you remember when you wanted me to buy you a piano, which I couldn't?
When was that? Was I still young?
Yeah.
Oh, Mama.
Yes.
So why don't you get the piano for me?
I couldn't afford for it.
We have a black voice teacher in the school. He is by the name Mr. Patrick Tikolo.
Okay.
Patrick
Tikolo. So this is where we practice before we go to the theater.
Yes.
Yes.
Now I believe I am in Cape Town because at the Cape Town University, because I've seen some that I never thought I'll see.
Yeah. So remember I was telling you about Mr. Patrick Tikolo?
Yes.
This is Mr. Patrick Tikolo.
Oh, the teacher.
The teacher.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you, Mama. He's a hard worker.
Is that so?
Yeah.
If you say so, then I'll believe because you are the teacher.
You know, back in our communities, people, if you're saying you go to study music, they think, what are you going to do with that? We need you to go to work. We need money. We're starving here.
Yes,
You know?
that's what the question I also asked.
It's that baby in us. He'll be able to provide some bread home.
Okay, that's good news.
You know, times are changing.
Yes.
Look at this coverage.
Yes.
Did you ever know?
Expect
people
it at all.
All over the world will be looking at you because of your son. And I'm telling you, a superstar in making.
Is that so?
Having to sing at the United Nations.
Yes.
You know, that's one of the big offices.
Not the biggest.
Oh, I like the way the water is making the waves and so on. God is great. He knows what he has done to give us the land this side and the water that side. It was impressing me to see him in Cape Town. I was very happy and I thanked God. He is the creator and he knows what a person wants to do and he gave him the power to do that.
I enjoy having everybody around me. That we have such a big mix of, such a great mix of cultures in South Africa.
How many of you want to leave South Africa to pursue your opera careers?
Many people.
All of us.
We kind of become each other's family in a way, especially through rehearsing for the operas and and we all become quite a close-knit bunch.
Yeah.
English, African, crossing those boundaries.
I haven't encountered any racism whatsoever.
He's one of my best friends.
I mean, white, black, all together.
I mean, with some people it takes more time, but I don't think it's about a color issue. It's more about like how you culture, how you were brought up, I guess.
We were interested to hear you and your colleagues all saying that race isn't an issue here. Is that really true?
I think on the surface, when we're all together in one room, it isn't really an issue. But I think there's still a deep underlying layer of bias between the different races. I still think some people in certain races think they're more superior, and as the black people come up, they're also starting to think that they're more superior.
I don't see color anymore.
I think it's more like traditions and
Yes.
family,
That's where you
like
feel
where you
it.
come from. It's not about like the color, you know.
That's your modern view in your 20s. How about your parents, grandparents, communities?
My parents are cool.
Yeah, well, obviously there's the question, the apartheid, but that's been like 2 generations, a generation back.
Yeah, like
So-
we don't even like speak about
We don't even-
apartheid as,
yeah.
or no.
It's like the Hitler. People don't really speak about it anymore. It's non-existent, actually.
Nothing changes in 1 or 2 generations. It all changes over a long period of time, and I think it's going to take a while before it's completely changed in South Africa.
Do you feel a connection between the struggle to end apartheid and your own life?
No. Younger people of my generation aren't really connected to that because we weren't a part of it. So a lot of us have moved forward from it.
And do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it's an absolutely bad thing because we have forgotten the people that were pivotal and important, and the reasons why they are important, and the reasons why the same mistakes should never be made again. But that's the way it always works, right?
Are you looking forward to seeing Tisele's opera tonight?
Yes, ma'am. I'm looking forward. I couldn't have come if I wasn't interested. So I am looking forward to see what is he actually doing with the opera.
And what do you expect?
I understand that he is a fire himself, and I expect of him to fire in my presence this time.
And Tisele, are you ready to fire?
I'm ready to fire, yes.
You know, I'm someone who always, when I like a thing and I feel happy, I normally ululate.
That is ululating.
Can I ululate?
Not
when
in
he
an
sings?
opera. Well, they take this one very serious.
Are you nervous?
I am, in a way.
Is there anything you do to keep yourself calmer?
I like to listen to pop music. When I came from rehearsal, I don't want to listen to opera. I just want to leave opera on stage and then listen to something more so that my mind can at least breathe.
Like what?
Like Adele.
I don't know why I'm scared, 'cause I've been here before. Every feeling, every word, I've imagined it all. You never know if you never try.
This could be my chance to show them what I have.
Dare to let me be your one and only.
Just before I start singing, my mind is completely clear. I've kind of gotten used to just letting go. I figured nerves don't really help much.
I'm always nervous. I have to be. I have to get myself energized and focused on the work I've got to do.
My parents, I just want to see their reaction. I'll try to look where they'll be sitting when I'm on stage singing.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Hoffman Company, this is your 5-minute call. 5 minutes.
I feel like I'm the character that I am portraying. I feel like I'm the student who is just being raucous in the bar.
I think I've come out a lot of that eggshell, and I don't intend on going back. When you put me on stage or you give me an aria to sing, then I can turn into a different Linda. Not Linda, but someone else. Someone bigger than Linda.
What goes through my mind is what goes through my mind all the time I walk on stage. Is my voice going to project?
To sing. To sing.
I get comfortable once I have sung at least a couple of lines. Then I start to think more about my acting. And then I start to think of what's going on stage. I've gained a lot of experience because of the UCT Opera School. I don't like to do things because people do them. I like to do things my own way.
when I was cheering Tisili, it's a tribal praise. It means, oh, you are pleasing me, my son. I'm happy about it. I'm proud about it.
Where might we expect to find Makudu Panyane in 5 years from now?
I hope you will find me somewhere in Europe making a name for myself, slowly but surely climbing the ladder of opera.
I'll probably be in the United States, but I also want to go audition in places like London and Europe. I want to work so that my parents could be the children and I could be the parent.
You were on fire. You was on fire.
Yeah, no, I was on fire.
You were on fire.
Where would you think we would see you 5 years from now?
The Met. I feel like one day I'll be able to sing for you, to send the message of being a girl who grew up in the township and then made it to the Met in New York. One day it will come true, I know.
I am an African. I owe my being to the hills and the valleys.
I like this. I like this. If I could have a whole camera crew following me around everywhere I go. Yeah.
I'm taking a picture of you if you're taking a picture of me.
We're going back to the house.
Yeah, let's go.
Can I have that back?
Yes, we will be seeing you later on. Thank you.
Find, I know that none dare challenge me when I say I am an African. I am an African. I am an African.
I Live to Sing was made possible by the generous support of the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation, Jody and John Arnhold, the South African Tourism Board, the Friends of 13, Dorothy Pasella Fund. This program is a co-production with United Nations Television. Additional support provided by South African Airways, proud to share the arts and culture of South Africa with the world.